You might be surprised to learn that there are quite a few celebs out there who have refugee parents. So let's check out some of them. First up is Rita Ora. She's from Kosovo and fled the country in the early 90s. Ora once said in an interview that she and her sister were lucky to have made it out alive at all. They literally got on the last flight when the airport began closing down. Due to her background, the singing superstar has frequently stood up against the prejudice refugees face. These people are forced to desert their homelands and come to an alien country where the locals don't really want them. It's quite a harsh situation, really, and we're glad they have Rita on their side. Another celeb with refugee parents is Mila Kunis. She's originally from Ukraine, back when it was still part of the Soviet Union. But as her family is Jewish and religion was banned by the communist regime, they packed their stuff and left for the USA. It was quite a tough time for the brunette beauty, as she didn't speak a word of English when they arrived in California. She later described it as like being blind and deaf at age 7. Fortunately, Mila was a clever kid and picked up the language in no time. Then, when pursuing a career in acting, she found a warm home in Hollywood where her background has never been an issue.
No, I mean, I don't think it's prevented me from anything other than when I started, I probably had an accent. And then I overcame that, and then it's just like anything else. But I think, everybody's very open-minded.
Other famous folks with refugee parents include the likes of Gloria Estefan, Andy Garcia, Steve Jobs, Freddie Mercury, Jackie Chan, Rachel Weisz, and Tiffany Haddish. And then there's rapper MIA, who was forced to flee Sri Lanka due to the civil war between her people, the Tamil, and the government.
We were going, as a Tamil community, all of us, we were going through something we'd never gone through before in the history of Tamils, really, because the war had started and we all left at the same time, around about the same time. And we all had very similar stories that we were broken families. The families didn't know how to speak English or whichever country they landed in, Germany or wherever. And everybody was learning a new language. Everybody was a single-parent family. And every kid is rebelling and trying to find identity in a new space. Kids were like going through crazy stuff. And now when I look back, I realized that it was mainly a community experience rather than a personal one.
Just like most refugees, MIA too had to find a way to deal with her traumatic experiences.
I remember going to my auntie saying, I think I need therapy at like 14. And then she slapped me across the face, and she's like, therapy for losers, that sort of attitude. So Tamils didn't really, you know what I mean? It was like, it wasn't even on the radar that there would be any form of issues to deal with.
It's probably not a coincidence that the likes of Dua Lipa, Rita Ora, Freddie Mercury, and MIA all turned to music. They lived harsh lives, having fled wars or having parents that did so, and having to adapt to a foreign country. Writing songs can be therapeutic, and in this way they found an outlet for their feelings about everything they've been through.
My first song I ever wrote was called MIA, and that was like general politics. It wasn't about Sri Lankan. It was about where I was in England. It was about you're on the council flat, you're on the dole, you're poor, what happens to you? You get your first Nokia. The only things open to you when you come from an underprivileged life is you become a drug dealer.
Well, we're glad it all worked out for MIA as she became a top hip-hop artist who's received numerous awards for her work.